Chag Sameach. Welcome to all of our friends, family from Alabama and outside Alabama. Chag Sameach. I hope everyone has had a wonderful first 2 days of Pesach. Chag Sameach. James, thank you for letting me know that you can hear me. I was more concerned when I was in my house. In my living room, my setup there, I've had issues with buffering and all kinds. I finally figured it out. It was one of the wires I was using. So after all these months, I finally figured it out. And then the sound came out. So that was fine. But I appreciate that. So Chag Sameach. Hope everyone has had a wonderful two Passover Seders, sorry. I'm in that fog from consuming all of that Manischewitz wine, which one should never do. I only drink it on Passover, and I now have to weed myself off of it. Drinking a lot of water. I am going to go get a glass of water before we start. I apologize for getting started a little later, but I want to make sure I have some water beside me. Bert Shepard is with me in the sanctuary, so hang on about 2 minutes. I will be right back. No, it's okay. Okay. Bert, I'm going to have you listen to the front door. If you hear a doorbell, would you please let somebody in? I don't think that's going to happen, but it might. Again, Chag Sameach. Welcome to everyone. I hope I didn't lose anybody while I was getting water. We are praying out of Siddur Lev Shalem. It is a weekday holiday service. Let me get... I have to get my shuluach out so that I don't miss anything, because sometimes these holiday services can be a little strange, a little complicated. So I have to have my crib sheet so I make sure I'm stay on topic. Anyway, please rise. Page 103. We begin with the Birchot HaShachar, the blessings of the morning. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher natan lasech vivina lavchin ben yom uvein laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam shesani b'tzomo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam shesani ben chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam shesani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam Mabi Sharamim, Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Matir Asurim, Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Zokef Kefufim, Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Rakal Haaretz al Hamayim, Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Hamechin Mitzrei Gaver, Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Ta'asa Likol Tzarki, Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Oz Yisrael B'Gvura, Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, O Yisrael B'Tifara, Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Hanotehin Layoef Koach, Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Uteneinu hayom v'choyom l'chin l'chesed rachami b'necha v'nechoen v'tigmalinu chasadim tovim Baruch Adonai gomer chasadim tovim le'amo Yisrael. You may be seated. We continue. Okay, page 112 with Psalm 92. Hayom Yom Shabbat Kodesh Shebuchem Vrim Bavit HaMikdash Mizmor Shir Le'Yom HaShabbat. Od yedovun b'sevdeshinim chanim yu lagid kishanat subri v'lo avlatabo. We continue page 120 with Psalm 30. Mizmor Shir Chanukat Ba'ilad David. Hafachtem ispedil mocholi pitachtis achivas genisimcha laman yizemech vad veloidam Adonai Elohai lilam odeka. We rise, page 122, as we begin Psukei Zimra with Baruch Shemar. Baruch She'amar ve'hayolam Baruch Hu Baruch Hoseh Bereshit, Baruch Omev Yoseh, Baruch Ozer Kayem, Baruch Merachim al Haaretz, Baruch Merachim al Habriot, Baruch Mishalem Sachar Tov L'Rehav, Baruch Chai V'Kayam L'Netzach, Baruch Puri Amatzil, Baruch Shemho, Baruch Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam. Yachid Chel Mi Melech Mishabach V'Deshma Gadol Baruch Ata Adonai Melech V'Hulal Batishbachot. You may be seated. We continue with Ashrei, page 136. Ashrei Yoshvei Beitecha Hod Yalu Chasel Hashem Shkachalo Hashem Shadonai Elohav Tehila LeDavid Aramim Mechalai Melech V'Avarchashim Mechalelam Va'ed. Tilat Adonai davar pihi v'vareko b'sheshim kachel elam va'ed v'anachnu nevarech yamet avilam. Hallelujah. Page 141. Hallelujah, hallelujah, b'kadosh b'kia uzo, hallelujah, v'gvorot avalo krov gudlo, hallelujah, b'tagashaf, hallelujah, b'neve v'chinor, hallelujah, b'dof u'macho, hallelujah, b'minim v'yugav, hallelujah, v'tziotz le'shema, hallelujah, b'tziotz le'truwa, Kol neshama tahallel hallelujah. Kol neshama tahallel hallelujah. Baruch Adonai le'olam amen v'amen. Baruch Hametzion Shechein Yerushalayim hallelujah. Baruch Adonai Elohim Elohei Yisrael Nifla Levado. Uvaruch Shem Kavado L'Elohim L'Chvet Koharetz. Amen v'amen. Page 145. Nishmat Kochai Tivarech et Shimecha Hu Adonai Eloheinu. Page 146. Mid melach mishvelach mi'aroch lachoil hagadol gibor v'hanora elelun kashamayim va'aretz nhalelachon shebechacha unfarchem v'rechat shem hakodeshecha kamor leDavid barchi nafshi ataranai v'chol keravayet shem hakodesho. And we begin the weekday holiday, actually just any Shalosh Regalin. We begin on top of page 147 as the Shliach Tzibor introduces the holiday. Hoel betadzmot uzecha hagadol בכבוד שמך הגיבור לנצח ונורא בנורותיך המלך היושב על כיסא רם ונישא שוכן עד מרום וקדוש שמו וכתוב רננו צדיקים באדוני לישרים ענווה תהילה בפי ישרים תתהלל ובדברי צדיקים תפרח ובלשון חסידים תתרומם ובקרב קדושים תתגדש ובמקהלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל. להודות, להלל, לשבח, לרמים, לברך, ללא קלס, על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות. David ben Yishai Avdecha Meshichecha, page 148. Yishtabach Shimecha La'ad Malkeinu. Barachot v'hodot mi'taviyah ulam baruch et Adonai melech gadol batishbachot elodot Adonai niflot habocher b'shirei zimara melecheu chei ha'olamim. Excuse me. Again, hold on one second. I wish all of you a Chag Sameach, a Moadim L'Simcha. I hope everyone that has had a wonderful first two Seders. We had wonderful Seders. Next year, I can only say I hope that we get back to our crazy, crowded house with 30 people packed into into our living room, and being able to just have a lot of kids, a lot of craziness. It would probably still be on Zoom, but I really need to. I have this great need to see people full face and not on that 2-inch by 1-inch screen. But we had a good Passover, and so far, this is the second day of Passover. I'm glad you are joining us. Let's see who we have. James, Irene, and Ellie. Thank you for all joining us. Anyway, we begin Shacharit, page 149. Please rise for the call to worship the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. You may be seated. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzei v'rei choshech, osei shalom v'rei et hakol. And we continue in the middle of page 152. Hame'ed lo etzvela dorhim aleichem barachamim, because it's a weekday. Baruch gedol deharichin v'hazareich tov yotzah kavod lishmo me'orot natan sevivot tozo pinot tzva'av kedoshim ramamai shadai tamid mesaprim kavod. Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu shavach ma'asedecha v'yameresha siti yafaru chasela. Page 153. Titbarach sureinu malkeinu v'golein barei kadoshim mishtabach shimcha liad malkeinu. וכולם פותחים את פיהם בקדושת תורה בשיעור זמרה, וערכים שבחים פרים מריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שם אוהל המלך הגדול, הגיבור והנורא הקדוש הוא, וכולם מקבלים עליהם מלכות שמיים זה מזה, ונודרים רשות זה לזה להקדיש לעצם מנחת רוח בשפה ורבנימה קדושה, כולם כחרונים ויאמרים ביראה, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוך על הארץ כבודו, ואופנים וחטא הקודש פרש קדם מנצל מצרפים למתם משבחים ויאמרים ברוך אדוני ממקומו לאל ברוך נמות ייתנו. אור חדש על ציון דאיר ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו, אור חדש על ציון דאיר ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו, ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות. Page 154. אברהם ותנו אדוני אלוהינו חמנו. Avienu leshalom meharba kanfot haaretz v'tolichenu komemiut lehertzenu ki elpo yeshuata vanu v'charta mikoam v'lashon v'keravtanu l'shimcha hagado selah beyemet lahodo lecha ulyachedcha b'yahava baruch et Adonai Avochem Yamo Yisrael b'yahava Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'oila asher nochi mitzavecha yom al levavecha ve'shinanatam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha u'vlechtecha v'derech uvishachpacha v'kumecha ukshartam neota yadecha v'hayu latotafot beinecha uchtabtam namzot beitecha uvisharecha v'hayim shamoa tishma'u el mitzvotai. Is a Kima Shemaret Vayomer Adonai Moshe lemor daber El bnei Yisrael v'yamarta lehem v'yasu lahem tzitzit Al kanvei vignehem ledoratam v'natnu al tzitzit hakana petiol techele v'haya lachem letzitzit Oritem otos chartem et kol mitzvot Adonai v'asitem otam v'lo tatu racharei levavchem v'yacharei nechem asher tem zonim achareihem Laman dizgaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kadoshim leloechem Ani Adonai Eloechem Asher hotzeiti etachem be'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. Ledovedo kayam ushmo kayam v'chison nachon malchut tovim enato lehad kayamet. We're on page 157, fourth line from the top of the page. Udvarchem. Emet shatu Adonai Eloheinu v'elevatenu malkeinu melech avotenu goelenu goel avotenu yotrenu tzur yeshutenu podenu matzilenu melam shemecha ein Elohim zulatecha ezrat avotenu atahu me'olam. Page 158. Ram v'nisa gadol v'nora mashpil gei magbi hashfalim motzi asirim fodenavim v'ozedalim v'yon eliamo b'yet shavam elav tilot le'elyon brochem vrach Moshe u'Miriam u'vnei Yisrael achomishim b'simcha rabbah V'yameru lama mi kamocha ne'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedor b'kodesh nora tehilot o seifele shira chadasha shibechu geulim shimcha sfatayam Yachad kulam odu ve'imlichu v'yameru Adonai yimloch le'olam voed Tzur Yisrael kuma b'ezrat Yisrael v'teichinu mecha Yehuda v'Yisrael go aleinu Adonai tzavot shemo Kedosh Yisrael Baruch Atah Adonai Ka'o Yisrael. We rise for the Amidah because it is a festival. Amidah, we turn to page 306. We join together in the first three brachot through the end of the Kedusha. Then you may continue silently through page 314. Again, we begin together, page 306. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Dovim v'Konei Yaakov, V'Zocher Chastei Avot, Umevi Goel Livnei V'nehem, Naman Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer Foked Mashiach Umagen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Mufoked Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayem Etim HaTorah V'Hoshia, Morid HaTahal, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechayem Etim Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Hofech Holim, Umatir Asirim, Umakayem, Emunato Lishenei Afar, Michamochem Bal Givurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit, Umachayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Atalach Hayot Meitim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaMeitim. Nikadesh et shimacha ba'olam kashem shemakdishim oto mishmei marom kakatuv hayad nevi'echa v'kara ze el ze v'yamar kadosh 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 Adonai tzavot malach ha'aretz kevodo az b'kol rash gadol adif v'chazak mashmihim ko Mitnasim lematzarafim, liumatam baruch yomeru, baruch v'Adonai mimkomo. Mimakomecha malkeinu tofia, mimakomecha malkeinu tofia, v'timloch aleinu, V'timloch aleinu, ki mechakim anachnu lach. Matai timloch b'tzion, בקרוב בימינו לעולם נבוא תשכון תתגדל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים ועינינו תראנה מלכותך כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך על ידי דוד על ידי דוד משיח צדקך ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור הללויה לדור ודור לדור ודור לדור ודור נגיד גודלך לדור ודור לדור ודור לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים קדושת נקדיש קדושת נקדיש ושבחך אלוהינו בפינו לא ימוש לעולם לעולם ועד לדור ודור לדור ודור לדור ודור נגיד גודלך לדור ודור לדור ודור לדור ודור נגיד גודלך כי המלך גדול וקדוש 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 אתה כי המלך גדול וקדוש 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 אתה לדור ודור לדור ודור לדור ודור נגיד גודלך לדור ודור לדור ודור לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. חג המצות הזה זמן חירותנו. חג המצות הזה מודים אנחנו לך. As we do in each of the Shalosh Regalim, we recite Hallel. We always recite Hallel standing right after the Amidah during the Shacharit service. The only exception to that is we recite Hallel also sitting down at our Seders, but we do it a little bit differently. We recite Hallel in We recited in split form. The first two Psalms of Hallel deal with what we call the Egyptian Hallel, Hallel where we're still in slavery, and then the other Psalms we sing after the meal, after Birkat HaMazon, deal with the Hallel of freedom. So please rise, page 316 for Hallel. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lekro et Hallel. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Avdei Adonai. Miki mi mefarto mishpot yori mevion leho shivim nedivim im nedivei amo shivi akeret abayit im abenim samecha hallelujah betzeit Yisrael mi Mitzrayim beit Yaakov meyam lo yes Hayata Yehuda lekadsho Yisrael mamshlotav hayam ravaya nos hayarden yisov leachor he'arim rakedu che'elim giva od kivnei tzon mahalecha hanyam kitanus hayarden tisov leachor Harim tirkedu chelim gevahod kivnei tzam milifnei adan chuliaretz milifnei Elo Yaakov hauchviat sur gamayim chalamish l'mayno mayim. Page 317. Lo lanu Adonai, lo lanu ki lishimcha ten kavod al chastecha al amitecha. Yisrael, Yisrael, betach b'Adonai, Ezram, Ezram, umaginam, Ezram, umaginam, hu, Beit Aharon, bitchuva Adonai, Ezram, Ezram, umaginam, Ezram, umaginam, hu, Yirei Adonai, bitchuva Adonai, Ezram, Umaginam hu. Adonai Zacharani Yivrech, Yivarech et Beit Yisrael, Yivarech et Beit Aharon, Yivarech Yirei Adonai, Haketanim Nimna Gedolim, Yosef Adonai Alechem, Ve'alechem ve'al Benechem, Beruchim atem l'Adonai, Oseh shamayim va'aretz, Shamayim, shamayim l'Adonai, ve'aretz natan levnei Adam, lo ametim yahaleluya, ve'lo kol yardei duma, v'anachnu nevarech ya, me'ata v'yad olam, me'ata v'yad olam, Hallelujah. Page 318. Avti ki yishma Adonai et koli tachanunai. Hemanti ki adaber, ani aniti meod, ani amarti, Amarti v'chavzi ko Adam kozev Mashiv Namlai Kalahi Alai Kosh Yeshua Dasa V'Shem Adonai Yekra Nidarai Ladonai Shalem Negdana Lecholam O Bechatrot Beit Adonai B'toch Yerushalayim Hallelujah Hallelujah Et Adonai Kol Goyim Shabchu Kol Amim Ki Gavar Aleinu Chastav Emet Adonai Lelam Hallelujah Page 319 Hodu Ladonai Ki Tov Ki Leolam Chasto Hodu Ladonai Ki Tov Ki Leolam Chasto Yomarna Yisrael Ki Leolam Chasto Hodu Ladonai Ki Tov Ki Leolam Chasto Yomru Navet Aaron Ki Leolam Chasto Hodu Ladonai Ki Tov Ki Leolam Chasto Yomru Na Yireh Adonai Ki Leolam Chasto Hodu Ladonai Ki Tov Ki Leolam Chasto Mihina Metzar Kaharatiya Anani Vamerchavya Mihina Metzar Kaharatiya Anani Vamerchavya Anani Vamerchavya Anani Vamerchavya Adonai Liloim Pitchu li Sharei Tzedek Avovam Odiyah Pitchu li Sharei Tzedek Avovam Odiyah Zeh Ashar Ladonai Tzadikim Yavovo Zeh Ashar Ladonai Tzadikim Yavovo Odecha Ki Anitani Vati Li Lishua Odecha Ki Anitani Vati Li Lishua Even Masu Abonim Hayata Lerosh Pina Even Masu Abonim Hayata Lerosh Pina Meit Adonai Hayata Zot He Nifla B'Yeineinu Meit Adonai Hayata Zot He Nifla B'Yeineinu Zeh Hayom Asa Adonai Nagila V'Nismechavo Zeh Hayom Asa Adonai Nagila V'Nismechavo Anarashiana Anarashiana Anarayatzlichana Anarayatzlichana Baruch haba b'shem Adonai Berach nuchem mi beit Adonai Baruch haba b'shem Adonai Berach nuchem mi beit Adonai El Adonai v'yael lanu, Yisachak bavoti natkarnu tamizbeach. El Adonai v'yael lanu, Yisachak bavoti natkarnu tamizbeach. Eli ata v'yodeka, Elohai aromimeka. Eli ata v'yodeka, Elohai aromimeka. Hodu l'Adonai ki tov, ki le'olam chasto. Hodu l'Adonai ki tov, ki le'olam chasto. Page 321. Yalaluch Adonai Eloheinu kol masecha. Ki lecha tov lahodot, u'shimcha na'el zameg mi ki himela me'ad olam atoeh, baruch ato Adonai, melech mehulal batishpachot. One more time to take a collective cleansing breath, if you will. Chag Sameach to everyone. We have slowly gotten up to just about a minute. Well, actually, I think we have a minyan right now. That's great, including what we have in the room and online together. We are now going to transition to our virtual Torah service. Please, please, please stay hydrated. Got to get all of those toxins from the Manischewitz wine out of our system. And with some of us, the silver Patron. If anybody doesn't know about silver Patron, there's actually, you can get kosher for Passover wine galore. You can even get kosher for Passover brandy, though I don't think most of us could afford it. You can get kosher for Passover vodka in the right Jewish environments, but in most liquor stores around the country, you can get what's called silver Patron. It's a Mexican tequila, and believe it or not, you look at the bottle, it has a hechsher on it, kosher for Pesach. Of course, it's just the agave plant, but it's pretty potent. I don't know what, this is why I'm thinking, please hydrate. And drink responsibly. We will now transition to our Torah service again, page 322. We will rise as the ark is opened. Oops. All right, let me get the right page here. Here we go. Okay, I'm almost there. Sorry. There we go. When I switch places, I have to refine everything. Okay. Page 320 something. There it is. 322. Ein kamocha va'elohim Adonai v'ein kamasecha malchutecha malchut olamim umemshaltecha becho dor v'ador Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimloch le'olam voed Adonai oz le'amo yitein Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom Av harachamim heitiv avirtzoncha et Zion Tivnech omod Yerushalayim Tivnech omod Yerushalayim Ki vecha levad batachnu Melech Erem Venisa, Adon Olamim. Please rise. Vayehi ben so Aharon, Vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adonai, V'yafutzu oyevecha, V'yanusu misanecha, Mihipanecha, Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, Udavar Adonai Mirushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Bi'amo Yisrael, B'kedushato. Since it is a weekday and Yom Tov, part of the Shalosh Regalim, we add what's on page 323. Adonai, Adonai, Erachum v'chanun, Erech Apayim, V'rav Chesed B'emet, Notzer Chesed Lalafin, Nosei Avon V'fesha, V'chata v'nahake. Adonai, Adonai, Erachum v'chanun, Erech Apayim, V'rav Chesed V'emet, Notzer Chesed Halafim, Nosei Avon V'fesha, V'chata v'nahake. Adonai, Adonai, Erachum v'chanun, Erech Apayim, V'rav Chesed B'emet, Notzer Chesed Halafim, Nosei Avon V'fesha, V'chata v'nahaked. V'ani tefilati, Tefilati lecha Adonai et ratzon Elohim berov chastecha aneni aneni behemet yishecha v'ani tefilati Tefilati lecha Adonai et ratzon Elohim berov chastecha aneni aneni be'emet yishecha v'ani tefilati Tefilati lecha Adonai et ratzon Elohim berov chastecha aneni aneni be'emet yishecha. We continue. Page 325. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo. Gadlu Ladonai iti נרוממה שמו יחדיו, לך אדוני הגדולה והגבורה והתפארת והנצח וההוד, כי כה בשמיים ובארץ, כי כה בשמיים ובארץ. לך אדוני הממלכה, ויעמיד נעשה לכל ראש. רוממו, רוממו, אדוני אלוהינו, והשתחוו, והשתחוו, להדם רגליו קדוש הוא. רוממו, רוממו, אדוני אלוהינו, והשתחוו, והשתחוו, להר קדשו, להר קדשו, כי קדוש Adonai Eloheinu. You may be seated. Okay. Let's align my pages correctly. And there we go. Again, it is, this is the second day of Pesach. We do not follow the regular Torah readings either for Shabbat or Chol HaMoed Pesach. There are special readings for each of the days of Passover. Yesterday we read from Exodus 12:21, I believe, or 24, I don't remember. 12:21 actually. Today we move forward and we read from Leviticus 22:26. I will do maybe 2 aliyot and translate and see what we can see. Leviticus 22:26, page 723 in your Eitz Chaim Chumash. וידבר אדוני משה לאמור, שור או כסף או עז, כי יוולד וישיב ימים תחת אמו, ומיום השמיני והלאה ירצה לקורבן של אדוני, ושור עושה אותו ואת בנו, לא תשחטו ביום אחד, וכי תזבחו זבח תודה לאדוני, לרצונכם תזבחו, ביום ההוא יחל, לא תותירו ממנו עד בוקר, אני אדוני, ושמרתם מצוותי, ועשיתם אותם, אני אדוני, ולא תחללו את שם קודשי, ואני הקדשתי בתוך בני ישראל, אני אדוני מקדישכם, המוציא אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני. וידבר אדוני משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל, ואמרת להם, מועדי אדוני, אשר תקראו אותם מקראי קודש, אליהם מועדי, 6 ימים תעשה מלאכה, וביום השביעי שבת, שבתון מקרא קודש, כל מלאכה לא תעשו, שבת היא לאדוני בכל מושבותיכם. Okay. Which Leviticus 22:26. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, when an ox or sheep or a goat is born, it shall stay 7 days with its mother, and from the 8th day on, it shall be acceptable as a gift to the Lord. However, no animal from the herd or from the flock shall be slaughtered on the same day with its young. It's all kind of unpalatable, isn't it? to think that we would take an 8-day-old animal and sacrifice it. But this is what the ancient world was like. Brutal. When you sacrifice a thanksgiving offering to the Lord, sacrifice it so that it may be acceptable in your favor. It shall be eaten on that same day. You shall not leave any of it until the morning. I am the Lord. You shall faithfully observe my commandments. I am the Lord. You shall not profane my holy name, and that I may be sanctified in the midst of the Israelite people. I, the Lord, who sanctify you, I who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God, I, the Lord. So, let me finish reading let me comment on that, and then I'll finish reading the other parts of this. It is kind of difficult to read. I won't hide it. But we're trying to understand the mindset of people who lived 3,000 years ago. I don't think we can even begin to understand it because we don't do that today, right? Yes, we sort of, if you really think about it, we do sacrifice animals because we have meat at our table. That meat has to be killed in some way according to kashrut. The animal is killed according to a method by which we try to bring the minimum of pain to the animal, even though the animal is going to lose its life. But we do that, right? Anything that you eat, the turkey you eat at Passover, the roast, it's hard for us to understand, but yet it isn't. We're just so separate from this because we don't sanctify going to a slaughterhouse to personally watch these animals being slaughtered. I did not mean to talk about this, really. But I wanted to just point out one thing in this reading. It says, when you sacrifice a thanksgiving offering to the Lord, sacrifice that it may be acceptable. It shall be eaten on the same day. You may not leave any of it until morning. Well, the Paschal lamb that was slaughtered, that's when on the Passover, that's when they put the blood of the Paschal lamb on the lintels of your doorpost, so the angel of death, the Malach HaMavet, would skip over your house. But when the temple stood, and all the Israelites would travel to Jerusalem for the big barbecue fest, because everybody brought a Paschal lamb, and it was sacrificed. It was offered by the priests. Part of it was kept, but most of it was given back to you. And you had every household that came to the temple to make sacrifices would eat that Paschal lamb with their families. And the rule was you had to eat all of it, couldn't leave any of it over to the morning. Okay? The rule on Passover is you're not supposed to eat anything past midnight. Okay? Even though we don't have the Paschal lamb, we don't offer sacrifices, the rule is you can't eat anything after Passover. After midnight, on Passover. Okay? In recognition of this particular law here, that it has to be eaten all by the morning. You can't leave any of it over to the morning. Okay? And it says to the morning, so you would think, well, I can eat Passover until the morning. The problem is, what happens not if, but when you fall asleep. And some of us fall asleep at the Seder. I know I've done my job when at least two people at my Seder have fallen asleep. And then what happens if you wake up at 3 a.m. and, there's a piece of turkey in front of me, and I think I'll just finish it. Okay? So the idea is you're supposed to finish eating before you go to sleep. Okay? and usually people are fast asleep by midnight. In my case, most nights by 9. And I'm sure a lot of you are the same way. Okay, so this is one of those reasons that we have for not. We put a fence around the Torah so that we don't even come close to violating the core, which means you can't leave any of it over till the morning. The rest of this portion, starting in chapter 23, the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the Israelite people and say to them, these are my fixed times, Mikra-e Kodesh. These are my fixed times, the fixed times of the Lord, which you shall proclaim as a sacred occasion." A moadai. A moadai is a sacred. A moed is a time, a set time. Okay, and when the Bible uses the word moed, the set times are the Shalosh Regalim, the 3 pilgrimage festivals. What are they? Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot. Not Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Those are 2 other holidays, not included in the 3 pilgrimage festivals. And the first one, on 6 days may work be done, but on the 7th day that shall be a Sabbath of complete rest, a sacred occasion. You shall do no work. It shall be a Sabbath of the Lord throughout your settlements. So, not only are the Shalosh Regalim considered, hold on one second. Hang on. Okay. So the Sabbath is considered part of these moadai, these set times, okay? Because it is a set time. Sabbath is a set time once every 7 days. Okay. Second aliyah. Which is on Leviticus chapter 23, verse 4, page 725 in your Eitz Chaim Chumash. Okay. Eile moadei Adonai mikra'ei kodesh asher tikru otam b'moadam b'chodesh harishon b'arba'asar lachodesh ben arba'ayim Pesach l'Adonai v'chimisha'asar yom lachodesh hazeh chag hamatzot Adonai shivat yamim matzot tochelu b'yom harishon mikra kodesh yelachem Kol melechet avodah lo ta'asu, v'hikravtem mishel Adonai shivat yamim, bayom hashvi mikra kodesh, kol melechet avodah lo ta'asu. V'yidaber Adonai Moshe lemor, daber al bnei Yisrael, v'yamarta alehem, ki tavo el haaretz asher ani noten lachem, uksartem et ketzirah, V'havetem et omer Reishi ketziracha et kakohen V'henif et hamoed lifnei Adonai l'rtzonechem Mimocharat HaShabbat Inifenu hakohen V'asitem b'yom hanivchem et haomer Keves tamim et ben shnato Lo l'Adonai, o minchato shnei esronim, so let belulav Hashemen, ishel Adonai reach nichoach, v'nizko yayin revitahin, v'lechem v'kali v'charmel, lo tochelu, ad etzem hayom hazeh, ad aviyachem, et korban alechem, חוקת עולם לדורותיכם בכל מושבותיכם. Okay. Leviticus 23:4 to 14. Okay. These are the set times of the Lord, the sacred occasions which you shall celebrate each at its appointed time. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at twilight. When the Bible says the first month, how many people think they're talking about Tishrei? They're not. What is the first month of the year according to the biblical calendar? Well, the first month, the most important month, is the month of Nisan. Even though Nisan is not mentioned in the Bible, it's clear that we are talking about the month that the holiday of Passover occurs, which in the Bible is the first month. On the 14th day of the month, at twilight, there shall be a Passover offering to the Lord. And on the 15th day of that month, the Lord's feast of unleavened bread. You shall eat unleavened bread for 7 days. On the first day you shall celebrate a sacred occasion. You shall not work at your occupations. 7 days you shall make gifts to the Lord. The 7th day shall be a sacred occasion. You shall not work at your occupations. Several comments on this. Okay. Well, first of all, the calendar of the Bible is different than the calendar we observe today. Today, probably which changed during the Babylonian exile. Excuse me. Let me just. Okay. Probably which changed during the Babylonian exile. When we came out after 70 years of exile, we came back with a new language. We no longer spoke Hebrew, we spoke Aramaic. Our alphabet changed from the Proto-Hebrew script to the Aramaic script using Hebrew characters. Excuse me, we spoke Hebrew using the Aramaic script, or we wrote Hebrew using the Aramaic script, and we changed our calendar because the Babylonians would observe the new year in the fall. Okay, the Bible observes the new year in the spring. It's a big, big difference. Okay, so we have to get used to that. But the wording here is interesting. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, at twilight, okay, that's the first night of Passover, right, the first Seder, there shall be a Passover offering to the Lord. Okay, that's when we eat the Paschal lamb. But listen, it says, but on the 15th day of the month, the next day, the Lord's feast of unleavened bread, you shall eat unleavened bread for 7 days. Sounds like two separate holidays. Okay? Sounds like there's a Passover offering holiday and a matzah holiday. And they happen to be on different days. Now, that is very, very odd. You wouldn't have thought that. It could be in ancient Israel there were two separate holidays that happened to be a day apart, and they merged them into the same holiday of Passover. Okay, and other places when it talks about Passover in the Bible, it mentions that you shall eat matzah 7 days, and another place it says you shall eat matzah on 6 days. And I don't have the quote in front of me, but how the rabbis interpreted that particular oddity is they said the following. Okay, hold on to your seats. You're not going to believe me when I say this. We are only required to eat matzah Okay, I'll say it again. You are only required to eat matzah at the Seder. The rest of Passover, you do not have to eat matzah. However, I don't know what you're going to make sandwiches on. It would be kind of difficult. But I'm saying the obligation to eat matzah is only at the Seder. Okay? And when I say matzah, there are different constructions of matzah, right? There is just the flour and water kind. Okay? The straights and the manischewitz and the shmura matzahs that only have water and flour. But there are other kinds of matzahs. There's gluten matzah, there's chocolate matzah, there's egg matzah. That matzah is called matzah ashira, enriched matzah. Those matzahs are actually you can't fulfill your obligation of eating matzah at the Seder by eating those. Okay? Yes, if you have a gluten issue, something which prevents you from eating regular matzah, of course, for health reasons, you must eat the matzah that we had. I think we had a congregant that couldn't eat wheat. So they had to find, I believe it was oat matzah or whole wheat matzah. I can't remember exactly, but there was a special. We actually were able to get that in Atlanta. But all of those other enriched matzahs, you can eat them for the rest of the holiday. But on Passover, you have to eat just the flour and water matzah. Okay, and the rest of this. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the Israelite people and say to them, when you enter the land that I am giving you and you reap its harvest, you shall bring the first sheaf of your harvest to the priest. He shall elevate the sheaf before the Lord for acceptance in your behalf, and the priest shall elevate it on the last day, on the day after the Sabbath. On the day that you elevate the sheaf, you shall offer as a burnt offering to the Lord a lamb for the first year without blemish. The grain offering with it shall be 2/10 of a measure of choice flour with oil mixed in, a gift of pleasing odor to the Lord. And the libation with it shall be of wine, 1/4 of a hin. Until that very day, until you have brought the offering of your God, you shall eat no bread or parched grain or fresh ears. It is a law for all time, throughout the ages in all your settlements." So further delineation of what we are not allowed to eat on Pesach. So, just some things that I find fascinating. I found a lot of things fascinating about Passover. I usually get a little bit more animated after the second Seder. Why? Because most of the work is done, and now we just have to endure until the end of the holiday. But okay. Probably I could say a lot more about this text, but it's so interesting. Okay. Let us go ahead and offer a mishaberach for those in and out of our community. A blessing for physical, spiritual, emotional healing. Please type in on chat if you would like to add a name to this list. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzhak Yaakov Sofka Rachav Leahu Yivarech Virapeh Et. Helen Byrne, Rhonda Bliss, Baruch Ben Elisheva, Arnold Fast, Sheila Goodry, Chana Betzar, Linda Smith, Marjorie Allen, Charles Miller, Sherry Rossiers, But Rivka, Becca Martinez, Isaac Ben Joseph, Marsha Orange, Harab Malkisedek Ben Baruch, David Kelman, Yael Betnami, Rivka, Natan Yaakov, Betnami Rivka, Stephen Schaefer, Mike Watts, Kelly Mossberg, Deborah Winkler, David Herman, Jerry Weisenfeld, Kay Booley, Jeannie Meisler, Miriam Padina, Tara Martinez Fernandez, Liz Wolko, Deanna Barber, Miriam Batrivka, Taraz Bat, Ruth Mark Platning, Roland Jermaine Barnes, Virginia Madden, Raymond Labato Jr., Natalie Copeland, Christopher Hill, Lorenzo Rivera, Tana Boulard Rivera, Gittel Tamar Bat Miriam, Sarah Shoshana Bat Nami Rivka, Joseph Dumas, Marcia Hudson, Ed Jackman, David Markowitz, Scott Decker, Bela Bas Rivka, William Williams, Meryl Fadomsky, Jim Mittensway, Lucy and Tilly Caldwell, Danny Bierman, Sheila Decker, Eugene Labato, Reza Bataraz, Roland Young, Marilyn Owens, Zabet Sobel, Shannon Howard, Tim Whitmer, Nami Rivka Butt, Miriam Benio Newzaz, Jeff Caldwell, Margaret Caldwell, Reese Smith, Roberta Rivera. Bert.
Sylvia Isidore.
Okay. Just a second here. Okay, sorry. All right. Take care of that later. And we add to this list all of those suffering in the country of Ukraine. V'et kolchim b'kila kedusha Agudath Israel tzachem v'kilan tabo beth or hakadosh b'chem alei rachamim alei amlach hazim chabetom v'shlach limer forshlim menashman nefesh v'udaguf b'tok shachol Israel yom tovu milizok urfa korova leva hashtabeglovas man karihi v'nomar amen. I wish all of those suffering a refuah shlema, a quick and complete healing. We rise to return our virtual Sefer Torah, page 340. Yahalelu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav shemo levado, hodu al eretz, v'shamayim vayaren keren le'amo, tila lecho, chasidav livnei Yisrael ham karovo. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, le David Mizmor. Sehu shaharim roshechem, inasu pitchei olam, v'yavo melech hakavod, mize melech hakavod, Adonai Yezuz ve'gibor, Adonai gibor milchama, sehu sharim rashechem, usehu pitchei olam, diavo melech hakavod, mihu's a melech hakavod, Adonai tzivahod, hu melech hakavod. Selah, page 342. Uvnucho yomah. Ki lekach tov natati lachem torati al tazovu et chayimi למחזיקים בה ותומכיה מאושר דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה, חדש עמנו כקדם. You may be seated. All right, hang on. I have to try and... Oh, yeah. There we go. Okay. Whew. So I am fairly, you may find this hard to believe, but I'm fairly talked out for the holiday, and I'm sure you're probably tired of listening, especially after the second Seder. I wish that we could all be together and do a couple of Ahayems after services. I am really, really hoping that as this holiday ends after next weekend, that we can start getting more and more people to come back to in-person services, start having kiddushes again so that we can sit down and have a kiddush, have a couple of Ahayems with each other. That's my hope. Before I continue with Musaf, I just want everybody to know the first part of the holiday ends at sunset. Actually, it's not sunset. It's an hour after candlelighting ends. The holiday ends tonight. Passover continues. The last 2 days of the holiday will take place beginning on Thursday night. Friday morning, we will have services at 9:30 a.m. We are very lucky. Our student cantor, Carl Sayers, will be here in Montgomery with us on Friday morning at 9:30 a.m. He will join us for Pesach services Friday night at 6 p.m. and Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m. The holiday of Pesach ends 1 hour after candlelighting next Saturday night. Also next Saturday we have a double treat. Actually, there's a lot of treats. Ending Passover is probably up there. Having Carl with us is great. We will also have a representative from the ISJL who will share a Torah study with us during services on Saturday morning. So we really look forward to that. We would really like to try and get a minyan, an actual minyan inside this room so we can do a full Torah service next Saturday. Any day for minyan would be great. I like to start small and just try and get one on Saturday. So we will go ahead and continue with Musaf, page 343. Please rise, 343 to 355. If I can think of that correctly, that is. We will chant the first three brachot together. Page 343. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Dovim v'Konei Hakol v'Zocher Chastei Avot Umevi goel lefnei v'neihem l'man shemo b'yahava melech ozer fokedo Mashiach u'magen Baruch atah Adonai magen Avraham ufoked Sarah atah gibor le'lam Adonai mechayem etimato rav loshia morid atal mechalkeo chayim bechesed mechayem etim berachamim rabim Samech noflim v'rofei cholim umatir asirim umakayem emunato lishenei afar michamocham bal gevurot ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. נעריצך ונקדישך, כסוד שיח צרפי קודש, המקדישים שמך בקודש, ככתוב היד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ויאמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוך על הארץ, כבודו כבודו מלא עולם, משורתיו שואלים זה לזה, איה מקום מקום כבודו לעומתם, ברוך יאמרו ברוך אדוני ממקומו, ממקומו הוא ייפן, הוא ייפן ברחמים, ויחונם המייחדים שמו ערב ובוקר בכל יום תמיד, פעמיים באהבה, באהבה, שמע אומרים, שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד, הוא אלוהינו אבינו, ומלכנו מושיענו, והוא ישמיענו, ישמיענו ברחמיו, שנית, 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 שנית לעיני חי, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו מאדם שמך בכל הארץ, והיה אדוני מלך כל הארץ ביום ובלילה אחד, ושמו אחד. ובדברי קודשך כתוב לאמור, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושת נקדיש, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושת נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי המלך קדוש, כי המלך קדוש, וקדוש אתה, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושת נקדיש. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. חג המצות הזה זמן חירותנו. חג המצות הזה. ובחודש הראשון ו14 יום לחודש, פסח לאדוני. מודים אנחנו לך. Okay. We now turn our Sidors back to page 204 for Ein Keloheinu. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mi Eloheinu, Mi Chadonenu, Mi Chemalkeinu, Mi Chemoshienu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, No dele Eloheinu, No del Adonenu, No del Malkeinu, No del Moshienu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Atahu Shektiru, Avotenu, Lefanecha et Ketoret Asamim, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu. We rise as the ark is open for Aleinu, page 205. And I'm getting there. There it is. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol latet gedula liutzeh breshit shalo asana kagoye haratzot velo samanu kamishmachot adama shalo sam chelkenu kahem vegor aleinu kechol hamonam vanachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lefnei melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Notei Shamayim v'Yosed Haaretz, U'Moshe v'Yikra b'Shamayim nimau, U'Shchinatu zo, Begavei meromim, Hu Eloheinu ein od, Emet Malkeinu evazulato, Kakatuv b'Torato v'Yadat Ahayem, וידעת הים והשיבות אל לבבך כי אדוני הוא אלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד אהו כן נקווה לך אדוני אלוהינו לראות מהיבט תפארתו זכה Gagadu b'toratecha Adonai imloch le'olam v'ho'ed v'nehemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz bayom mahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. You may be seated. This week we will observe yard sites for Oscar Jerome Halbin, Francis Goldfinger, Rosa Leibovitz, Henrietta Nickel, Irene Shirley Siderman, Minnie Zacuto, Herman Axelrod, Miriam Cohen, Ella Keller, Rosalind Blitz Schulwolf, Morris Cahan, Barry Roseman, Fanny Schulman, Manasseh Mandelbaum, and Kate Sachs. Those observing yard site and those who mourn, please rise. Page 205, excuse me, that's wrong. 207 for the Kaddish Tome, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei rabba b'yoma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayichon v'yamechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agalav izman kari v'maru amen yehei shmei rabba mevarach le'olam olmei maya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudisha b'richu Leilam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran b'yoma v'yimaru amen yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen oseh shalom b'mramav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. You may be seated. Thank you so much for joining us, our community, for the second day of Pesach services. I'm thrilled that we had as many people as we've had. That's really wonderful. Anyway, I hope all of you had wonderful Sidorim. Ours were great, even though it was a little small because people are still hesitant to be in each other's presence. I have long ago ceased making grand predictions that this is the last one. I'm not going to do that anymore. But it is my fervent hope that next year we can have a large, in-your-face, literally, Passover Seder, and a large community Seder as well. So I wish all of you, I will be here tomorrow morning for Chol HaMoed services, no breakfast. Thursday for Chol HaMoed services, both Monday and Thursday, 7:15 a.m. I'll be here Friday morning for the 7th day of Pesach. Services with Carl Sayers, Friday night, and 6 p.m. Saturday morning, 9:30 a.m. All three services with our student cantor, and then a representative from ISGL on Saturday morning who shared Torah study. So, if you think you might want to come and put your toes in the water to see how warm it is or how cold it is, please try and come on Saturday morning. I'd love to get a minyan so we can have a full Torah service with our two guests here. So with that, I wish all of you a Chag Sameach. We'll go ahead and conclude page 211 with Adon Olam. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'ed nasa v'chefso kol azai melech shemo nikra azai melech shemo nikra V'yacharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora v'hu haya v'hu oveh v'hu yiyeh b'tifara v'hu yiyeh b'tifara v'hu echad v'yein sheni lam shelo lehachbira beli reshit beli tachlit v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra v'hu eli v'chai go'ali v'tzor chevli b'yetzara v'hu nisi umanosli minat kosi b'yom mekra minat kosi b'yom mekra b'yado avkid ruchi b'yet ishan v'yaira v'immaruchi geviyati Adonai li v'lo ira Adonai li v'lo ira. One more thought in passing. A week from Tuesday, April 26th at 11 a.m. I am the coordinator of the of the Alabama State Yom HaShoah Memorial. This year it will be at the Alabama Department of Archives across the street from the Alabama Capitol. It will be a hybrid service, so both in person and online. So I encourage anyone who is going to come in person to please let me know. Seats are, there aren't a limited amount of seats. So we would like to know how many people will be coming so we can at least have a seat for you. Also, if you are planning on coming on, watching the service online, it is crucial that you register. If you don't register, you won't be able to see the service. So we sent out a flyer that had the bit.ly link. Just follow the link. Don't Google it. Just copy it, put it in your browser. Go to follow the link and register, and then you will get the link emailed to you immediately. So, and that gives me an idea of how many people are coming online as well. So with that, I wish all of you Chag Sameach. Have a wonderful rest